A smiling man with short, curly brown hair and stubble.
Hello, I'm Rory Douglas Speed. I am 5'7", white Scottish male. I'm wearing blue jeans, grey t-shirt, have brown hair and blue eyes. What's your normal? Everybody's different. Because I can guarantee you can put 10 people in a room and everyone's normal is different. I am type 1 diabetic, or I live with type 1 diabetes.
Rory leaves his changing room and goes down some steps.
My normal is getting up, checking my blood sugar, having my breakfast, and injecting every meal.
Rory holding his insulin pen.
On the outside looking in, you're like, oh, how can you do that every single day? Is it hard? Is it difficult? No, it's normal. One of the first experiences I remember having is going into school, doing my insulin, and then somebody being like, oh look, Rory's taking drugs, and kids being kids, right? I remember being like quite embarrassed about it. I was like, oh my God, like they think I'm weird. I went home and I told my mum. She says, right, well you need to tell them about it and you know, iron out the creases.
Rory's walking while checking his blood sugar level on his arm using his phone.
And I had a big talk in school, so I had a little table set out, had some jelly babies and that, had my insulin needles, my blood kit. And I says, right, this is how I do my blood because blah, 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 blah. This is insulin, this does this, and da, 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 da. And then, as a smart move, I passed out the jelly babies at the end of the talk. And everyone was like, wow, that's so cool. And they thought I was the best thing since sliced bread. And that was a key, because that made me realise at such a young age it's education.
Rory's walking to set.
If you feel like you come across as different or a child sees you as different, it's because they're not educated in the matter. As soon as they knew what I was going through and had an insight into what my life is, it was amazing. They all treated me with utmost respect, and I remember I took a hypo behind a piano once, and one of the boys in my class ran to tell the teacher, Rory's taking hypo, Rory's taking hypo, and he saved my life. So if he didn't know that, I might not have been here today, but I am. So it was cool. I think that was a really, really key thing for me.
Rory's reading lines on set beside director Bryn.
Action!
Mary, your mum told me how great you were about us. I just want to say thanks. I think in doing this episode, to shed light on it, to go, you are normal. You are normal.
Using air quotes for the word normal.
I think it's so important. Education is power. Everybody's different, but you'll always get somebody that shares the same sort of experience as you, and I think that's so important. What's your normal?
A title graphic says, "What's your normal?" A brown-haired woman smiling.
Hi, my name is Annabelle Davis and I play Lacey Lloyd here in Hollyoaks. Today I am wearing a bright red jacket. I have my brown hair down in sort of a loose curls, and I'm wearing a fresh face of makeup, not done by me. What's your normal? I don't know what normal is. I don't think I've ever known what normal is. And does anyone actually? Does normal even exist? I think you can have relatively normal days, but then my normal day is going to be completely different to your normal day. But I think that's quite nice. I think normal's kind of boring. I think it's exciting to not be normal. Normal's a weird word now, I've said it so many times.
Annabelle's a 20-something little person.
Other things that I probably have to do that other people might not, walking is a lot more effort for me. It takes me a little bit longer. So if I've got to go to a set that's at the other side of the studio, I probably will leave a couple minutes earlier or tell them I'm going to be a couple minutes later, just because my little leggies take that a little bit longer.
Annabelle's walking to set with her phone in hand.
And it's just pacing yourself. I think I can be a very energetic person, but it's reminding yourself, reserve some of it, because it's a long day. You want to make sure you've got the same energy all throughout the day.
Annabelle's chatting on set.
I think dedicating a whole episode to disability awareness and telling the stories about disabled people is really special. These stories, while rare, they do impact a lot of lives out there, and I hope that there will be disabled people, non-disabled people out there watching it that have a little piece of it that they can relate to, or something that they can take away from that.
Annabelle hugs a blonde woman with Down syndrome.
I think it's also a really good conversation starter. I think the more we talk to people, the better. I've learned things from my other disabled colleagues that I didn't know before. We're all learning in this, and that's what I think is most special. I really hope you enjoy the episode, and let me know what you think, what you got from it, and what conversation it started within your family, within your friends, within your workplace. I'd really be interested to know. I'm excited to hear them.
Annabelle's on set with a colleague.
What's your normal?
A title graphic says, "What's your normal?" A middle-aged black man with glasses wearing a cap is signing.
Hi, my name is Bim Ajadi. My sign name is Bim.
Bim's working on set.
I'm a director for Hollyoaks. I'm a black guy with a blue cap, with a blue jacket with a red lapel. I'm wearing a Bob Marley t-shirt that says "One Love."
Hi, I'm Ben. I'm Bim's interpreter. I'm sat right opposite him, providing a voiceover for his interview. I'm a Caucasian male with short, blondish brown hair, blue eyes, and a blue jumper.
What's your normal?
Bim shrugs.
It's hard for me to say what normal is. For me, how I go about my life is normal. Of course, there's going to be some differences because I'm deaf. You know, with the communication, that might be a factor if I don't have an interpreter with me. So, and that's why I'm trying to normalise the situation, trying to make other people feel more at ease with how to communicate with me. A normal day for me, really, is I just wanted to be treated like anyone else.
Bim's collaborating with others on set.
So my involvement for the special disability episode was directing. The good thing about it was working with a lot of artists who are disabled themselves. At the same time, there was some disabilities that I wasn't really aware of, so it was nice to learn something from other people. At the same time, me being aware I can empathise easily with them and was able to give my input to make the programme look more authentic, so which I thought was really important because it gives a good representation of the disabled community, especially in television.
Bim's directing the actors.
It's nice to see this positive outlook in the real world, and it shows that people can do anything they want and they can be anything they want. People's perception of disability is that they can't do this and they can't do that, or they've got a fear of not wanting to say the wrong thing or offending anyone. But what we need to change is just to stop people having fear of approaching people who are disabled. You know, this is the real world. This is what's happening now. Just treat us as you would treat anyone else. What's your normal?
A title graphic says, "What's your normal?" A 20-something woman in a wheelchair.
Hi, my name is Ellie Henry. I'm an actor and I play Freya. I have brown hair up in a ponytail. I am currently sat in my wheelchair, which is all black. What's your normal? I think normal does exist in a very broad sense that every day everyone has their own normal. So everyone has their own routine and their own base level that they sit at. I went to drama school when I was 16 and I studied musical theatre and acting. But luckily I was signed by my amazing agent and she only represents disabled talent, so I was very thankful to be picked up by her, and within a year, here I am.
On set, Ellie has blue streaks in her hair and is using colourful crutches.
A normal day for me is I turn up and in my car I have my wheelchair and my crutches. If I've got a lot to carry, I'll push my wheelchair with some bags in it to save my arms. Again, I make another choice. Am I going to use my wheelchair to go to makeup or am I going to walk to makeup?
Ellie's getting her makeup done by the team.
It's basically just loads of choices throughout the day. I think being in the wheelchair makes it quite simple because people know you need a ramp or people know you need an electric door. So I think they're most of the accommodations that I have at work. The biggest myth that I would like to dispel is that everyone in a wheelchair cannot walk.
Ellie's standing to push her wheelchair on the Hollyoaks set.
There's plenty of reasons that people use a wheelchair and it's not just being paralysed. So for me, I can walk. There was times when I used the wheelchair and I couldn't, but now I've learned, I worked very hard and I can walk. But when I'm in a shop or when I'm out and about, let's say if I need to reach something up high, I can do that. I will just stand up from my wheelchair and I will get it. And everyone around me will stare and it's like I've been healed. But also I think there's that moment where if someone sees you out walking, they assume that your disability is fake. So I think, yeah, people need to realise that just because I'm walking doesn't mean I'm cured or doesn't mean that I was never disabled.
On set, Ellie's wearing a big coat as she sits in her wheelchair that has colourful wheels.
I think this episode is important because a lot of able-bodied people don't see disability and don't see the impact it has on everyday life. And I mean, that's to no fault of their own because why would they see the lack of ramps, or why would they see the stairs everywhere? It's not something that they find in everyday life, so I think it's important that people are able to see that perspective within the mainstream media. What's your normal?
A title graphic says, "What's your normal?" A man is walking along the jetty on the set of Hollyoaks on a sunny day.
My name is John Bone. I am a white male. I'm 39 years old. Blonde hair, cut short. I'm wearing blue jeans and a checkered white and black shirt. What's your normal? I am a writer at Hollyoaks. I was diagnosed with dyspraxia at 5 years old, and then it became apparent that that wasn't the only thing. Like I had kind of like significant symptoms of autism. I didn't always have the best social awareness, and I was kind of extremely sensitive. And the advantage of which is that you feel the good times just as sharply as you feel the bad times.
John's grinning.
I'd like to dispel like the kind of Sheldon Cooper trope that we're all kind of like intellectual supermen with incredible memories. I'm definitely not an intellectual superman, and you can confirm that with my mother or fiance. We tend to be passionate or kind of like really good at certain things because it's easy to be good at something that you're passionate about, and for me specifically it's writing, and more specifically than that it's Hollyoaks. I'm a Hollyoaks super fan who's very, very fortunate to work for the show that he's obsessed with.
John's writing with a pen in the Love Boat.
So I am the writer of the Hollyoaks Disability Special Ed, What's Your Normal? It was a very important theme to get out there because I firmly believe that the answer to that question is there is no normal. And normal itself is a kind of artificial concept. It's quite nebulous, and disability itself is such a broad church. It's hard to find something that unites people. So the best answer we could give is the one thing we have in common is it's hard to find something in common.
John's frowning in concentration while writing.
It was just really important to get that message out there that there is no normal, or kind of to invite people to ask that question themselves. What's your normal?
A title graphic says, "What's your normal?"
I'm Rebecca Boyd. I am a junior publicist. I have long brown hair, brown eyes, and today I'm wearing a satin kind of material shirt with a cardigan over, and I am sat in the McQueen's house. I have a physical disability, which is rheumatoid arthritis. What's your normal?
Becky's a short white woman with long, straight brown hair.
I don't think normal exists. So I was using this analogy to my sister, and it was a cup of tea analogy because I love cup of teas. If someone drinks tea and they like it full fat milk with 1 sugar, quite weak, then that is their normal. Whereas my normal cup of tea is almond milk, honey, and really strong. People would be pretty disappointed if I brought my cup of tea to them and they don't like almond milk. So I think that's what normal is. Like, we base normal on society's norms and values, and we get norms and values through what we see and representation. So that's why I'm really passionate about fair and honest representation.
Becky uses an electronic wheelchair to go through a doorway.
One of the biggest myths people often have is when they hear the word disability, they instantly put everyone in the same box.
I go to a shop, if I'm with my sister, I won't be the one that gets spoken to, it'll be the other person. That's quite frustrating. What I think would be really important is if people stop presuming and ask people, and remember that disability is a variation of things. Although they might be disabled, they are still human, and I think that's something that we often do forget.
Becky's in the Lime Pictures reception.
So I have to really consider parking. Parking has to be really easy and accessible for me. I have to make sure there's lots of room to open my door. Since starting this job, I have a new car which has a hoist in, which will lift my electric wheelchair in and out. But I still struggle with the clips, so my work colleagues will come and meet me and help me get that out, which is great. And that just happens with a conversation. It wasn't some massive thing that needed to get put in place. I just openly said I needed a bit of help, and when people need help, people want to help.
I love the social model. It advocates that we are disabled by the barriers around us in society.
So in hospital, I am definitely disabled. You know, there's so many things that I can't do, but within society, now we're having stuff like ramps being made. I can now go to places. You know, stairs was a huge issue to me, but being able to have a lift, then suddenly I'm not disabled because I can get upstairs where everyone else is too. So the social model is something I think we definitely need to make people more aware of, talk more about. Communication both ways is really important. The What's Your Normal episode is super important because it shows the levels of different access needs that different people require. Access to me doesn't just mean disability, it can mean a variation of things, and we can't all fit in one box. What's your normal?
A title graphic says, "What's your normal?"
My name is Aslan, I'm a costume trainee at Hollyoaks, and I use he, him, his, and sie, them, their pronouns. I am a ginger man / non-binary person. I'm wearing a sort of turquoise jumper with black suspenders. I think I look quite smart because I knew I was being filmed today. And I'm also surrounded by costumes in the place I work, which is Hollyoaks costume department. It's so exciting. What's your normal? Normal has different meanings to a lot of different people. So for example, some people might use normal to talk about their baseline. If you start a new medication and it's making you more tired than normal, that can be really useful for some people. However, it can also be used as a tool to make some feel isolated or ashamed because their experiences don't match up with everyone else.
Aslan's walking by clothes hanging on rails.
I'm autistic and I have OCD as well as other conditions, for example anxiety, dyspraxia and ARFID, which sometimes does sound a bit like a laundry list, but the reality is that lots of those conditions are connected, and these impact me in various ways throughout my work environment, so I'm having to constantly pay attention to keeping things under control.
Aslan puts on noise-cancelling headphones.
OCD is a mental illness where a person often becomes obsessed with the idea of bad things happening and engages in compulsive behaviours in order to try and control them. Almost like a superstition, except it often has a very severe and debilitating impact on day-to-day activities. For example, because 7 is a lucky number, I often have to tap things 7 times. Not only does it slow me down, but also I've injured my hands on multiple occasions. OCD, it's not just about cleanliness, it is something that actually has a severe impact on people's lives, which is why it needs to be taken more seriously outside of perhaps this stereotyped notion we have about somebody who just wants things to be, you know, a little bit straighter. Although for me, I just want things to be gayer, which is fine.
Aslan's looking through clothes with a frown of concentration.
The What's Your Normal episode has the potential to show a wide audience that disabled people aren't just a group of tragic shut-ins who you'd rather not think about, but in actuality we are active members of society and the workforce. We're your friends, your family, your co-workers, and each of us have vibrant and individual personalities and experiences just like any other person. What's your normal?
A title graphic says, "What's your normal?" Laura, a white woman with shoulder-length white hair, comes into an office in an electric wheelchair.
What's your normal? I'm Laura Halligan. I am a white 40-year-old woman. I have long white straight hair and I'm wearing a very executive blue blazer, and I am currently sitting in my manual wheelchair at the moment.
Laura has a lip ring and is wearing red lipstick.
I find this question really difficult actually. Asking what normal is can be really triggering for people, I think, because it often makes you think about the ways in which you're not normal. I think that what is normal is people wanting to be happy and successful. The things that we want as human beings, that's normal for everybody, whatever your challenges are. So I started working in TV through Channel 4 production diversity training scheme. I became a researcher and then continuity editor, then I was an assistant script editor, and now I'm a script editor. So I've done a bit of everything in the script department.
Laura reaches for her phone.
As somebody with a physical disability, a lot of the time it's all about planning, thinking about which ways I can go places that are most easy to get to, where the bathrooms are going to be, if my wheelchair will fit under desks where it needs to be, for example.
Laura's writing at her desk.
I think the myth around disability that I get most often is that because I'm physically less able, that's going to make me intellectually less able. I never in a million years thought I'd be working in TV or have a successful career, because the boundaries that were placed on me by other people meant that it seemed impossible. I think that I've proven to myself that the impossible is possible, and I try and bring that now into all aspects of my life.
Laura scrolls on a tablet with her finger.
I think this What's Your Normal episode of Hollyoaks is really important, because the reason that I started working in TV was because I'd seen part of my life reflected on TV back at me and found that was really important. Being able to see that there are other people like you in the world and that can overcome challenges makes you feel a bit more able to do that. So I think What's Your Normal is super important, because it shows that there isn't really a normal for everybody, and that your challenges are things that make you more able to have a diverse perspective and point of view. What's your normal?
A title graphic says, "What's your normal?"